All right. Well, I really am Shirley Jean Bond. That's who I am. Huffman is the married name, so you use whatever you want. Born in 1936. My birthday is in October, so October 4th. And so I must have started school just before I was 6, I guess. I've never figured it out, but it must be that way. So I was there just 1 year though, but here's my first teacher. She was a relative, not absolutely close relative, but a relative, and she was a teacher, and she just happened to be the teacher of that school, Riverton Township, in Floyd County. So what else do you want me to start on?
Well, we'll start talking about your early years here. So you're in Floyd County. Describe your childhood a little bit for us. What was your family like? Did you live on a farm? How far away did you live from school?
Well, the farm was about, not quite 2 miles probably, but close to it. Because 2 miles the other way or less was the public school, was Nashua. We would just lived 2 miles from the public school. But we had to go to, it was, whatever, I guess you have to go to the school that's closest to you in those days, whatever. So it was Riverton Township, like I say, in Floyd County. Our farm, half is in Floyd County and half is in Chickasaw. The county line ran right past our farm. So we walked that close to 2 miles, maybe, I don't know exactly what it was, mile and 3/4. And so I was brought up on the farm, and we did not have plumbing, we did not have running water, we did not have electricity. We had kerosene lamps to find our way either to the barn or in the house or wherever. We did have an old upright piano. I begged to take lessons. So by the time I was 7 years old, I got to start taking lessons once I got into public school, and found a teacher there. Let's see, what else can I tell you? Well, it was a quiet upbringing, very, very nice, very calm.
What were some of your interests as a child? Did you like school? Did school interest you?
Oh yes, but I was terribly shy, and so all through school, basically just very bashful, shy child, and so going to the country. What do you want more on the farm and things like that? Childhood.
It's up to you.
Okay. On the farm, we had of course a windmill that provided our water. We pumped the water, brought in a pail of water for drinking purposes or whatever was needed. I sometimes, quite often, was down in the barn with the new baby calves. They have to feed them out of a pail, of milk, and of course sometimes they were with their mother. That was fun. And when the threshers came in the summertime, we had this humongous crowd of farmers. One farmer would have this great big threshing machine, and the farmer, my dad, and other farmers would hire them to come thresh the oats and so forth. And it was a big day, a long day, and of course they had to feed, I don't know, maybe 15 people, men or more, and so that was always a big day to remember. Let's see. We weren't just our immediate family, and I just had one sister. There were just the two of us and my parents, but we also had my grandfather and my aunt living with us. So it was a nice family, and we did everything kind of together. I had to sometimes go out and pump the water and fill the pail and bring it in. And one thing that I did not like was walking through the hen house, because you hoped you could take a big enough breath and hold it until you got to the other end, because you just felt like those little chicken mites, or what do you want to call them, were crawling on you. They weren't, of course, but it was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
So those are some things I remember about the farm, and of course we lived on this one-way, this county road, so there was very little traffic, and that was nice. Had to walk a quarter of a mile or a third of a mile down to the mailbox. So the mailbox was at the end of the part of the road, so that's where we got our mail. Okay, and
So you went to school right down the road?
well, no, it was okay. The mailbox was at the south end of the road. The school, you had to walk to the main road, which was probably 3/4 of a mile, and then west on another 3/4 to a mile. So that's why I say I don't remember exactly how far it was. Probably wasn't a full mile either way, because with Iowa being made into square miles, and we were a little north of the South Road, and we were certainly east of the going west. That probably doesn't make any sense to you. I can picture it.
Oh, no. How did you get to school?
Well, that is something I really don't remember a lot about, but we must have walked a lot of times. And sometimes it would snow so bad. And by the way, school was never let out for snow. Never. We went every day, blizzard or not. And sometimes we walked. And sometimes the road was impassable. You could not drive a car through it.
Did you have any troubles getting to school with the weather? Do you have any particular memories?
No, I remember it seemed to me like a gigantic hill it wasn't, but from the main road down, there was a dip in the road, and then it kind of went back up. And we got stuck once down in that dip, and I actually don't remember if it was on our way to school or home from school, I don't know. But we got stuck. Don't know how it got out. That part I blacked out. So, and lots of times, sometimes I was the littlest, the youngest in the school that year, and with I believe 2 other kids that were my age, and a boy and a girl. And sometimes I would get carried by the 8th grade girls, because they thought, I suppose I was so little, they'd go to the road and pick me up and carry me into the school through the snow.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So.
Your mornings, what did they look like? I mean, did you have chores? What were...
Oh, the mornings at home? No chores. If we'd been boys, maybe. But no, we didn't. And my family was not a one to ask the women to do things. Okay. We did the house. So we were took care of.
Oh, great. So there weren't any specific expectations of you before school?
No, only go get fresh water in the pail, go get the eggs in the hen house, go tend to the baby calves if you want to, and things like that. And sometimes we'd have in the summer, a hay rack full of loose hay. It wasn't baled at the time, it was loose hay. And this gigantic fork that came down from the hay mow picked up a great big scoop of hay, and then I don't remember how the fork lifted it, but anyway, it went up to the hay mow and dropped it in the upper part of the barn, which was the hay mow.
Okay.
And once in a while, or I don't know how often, I'd have to take cold water to the men because it was hot. So.
Did you have a lunch prepared? Did you prepare lunch? Did your mother?
At home? Oh, no, I didn't. No, I didn't prepare lunch.
Did your mother?
My aunt did at that time, for the most part. And my mom did too.
What did a typical lunch look like?
Oh my goodness, I have no idea. I'm not interested in food, so I don't remember at all what it was. It wasn't a big lunch. I mean, maybe the men came in and had a sandwich or something. I don't know. I don't have any recollection of that.
Do you remember taking a lunch to school on your way?
I must have taken one, actually, first day of school. There's a lunch pail. I didn't remember the lunch pail, but apparently I did have a lunch pail. Have no idea I don't remember eating. I was there for, like I say, one school year, and I don't remember ever eating lunch, but obviously I had to. That's how bashful and scared I was.
Oh, but it looks like your attire, you wore a dress. Was that typical attire for
yes,
country school kids?
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The first day of school, did I give you that picture? Of with the t-shirt? Yeah, so I did have slacks on, or whatever you want to call that.
Slacks,
So
dresses.
we did wear things like that. Probably not jeans until we were in the public school, and probably not jeans until I was in maybe junior high. Just wasn't, we didn't wear jeans at that time.
Tell me about your teacher here. Do you remember her name?
Ethel Hammond, her grandmother was Roxy Horton, which was a relative of mine. So that's somehow fits in there. So I don't know what that made her to me, but and they didn't live far from us. And her brother married my mother's sister. So
Oh, tight community.
kind of all in the family. Well,
Small
they
world.
weren't really from. My mom did not grow up in Nashua. She was more from the Shell Rock area.
Okay. She looks quite young. Yes. Did you ever have any interactions with your teacher outside of school at all, or?
Well, she was the pianist at the church for services, and at that time we had. Do you want all this information?
Oh no, this is good.
Of course,
This is good.
Oh, great.
Yes,
Don't worry
absolutely.
about it.
Okay, at that time it was a piano, in the church, and she played the piano, and I thought that would be so wonderful to play. I was terribly little by then. I barely remembered getting ready to go to church, but so she was the church pianist, and then of course I started taking lessons, and when I was 8, 9 years old, I started playing for the Sunday school opening exercises, they called them at the time. And I played all the hymns for the kids to sing to. And then many years, quite a few years later, the church got an organ. And so and Ethel didn't play the piano, or didn't play for services anymore. Another lady played, Edna Chenoweth, who was the wife of the undertakers in town, Chenoweth Funeral Home. And so she played, and by the time I was, I think it was 15, I was in high school, she stopped and I got the job.
Okay. Did she ever play music in school?
Who's that?
Your teacher?
This teacher?
Yeah.
Oh, at the school, the one-room schoolhouse? She probably did. I don't, again, remember that. But it vaguely seems to me we had a piano in the school. They always had the old upright, and or an organ. I guess we didn't have an organ at the school that I remember. And like I say, the piano, I assume we had one, but I don't recollect it.
Okay. Do you remember anything else inside your school? The interior design?
Oh, yeah, I can. Now, don't take this with you, but where did I draw it? Oh, yeah, here. It was just, okay, so here was a main road, and here was our county road between Floyd and Chickasaw County, and so our farm was right here, and this was our farmland, about half of it, because the other farmer up here had part of it. Okay. And ours was a 160-acre farm, still is. But so here was the dip in the road that we probably got snowed in on that once that I remember vividly. It must have scared me half to death or something. And anyway, here we turned the corner. This went into Nashua, to the town of Nashua. We turned the corner here and we walked up along this main road, and here was the school. I don't remember how large the yard was, but of course there was some room out here to play and for recess and so forth. And according to that, we just had a couple steps up to the door. I don't remember there being a bell up here.
No bell?
There might have been. I don't remember. I was little. And so we went into the school, and as I remember it again, some things get blurred up in the mind. I think there was a wall here, a door here, just an open door into the one-room schoolroom on either side of the wall. And on the wall was a big old crock water cooler, you know, the old-fashioned crock.
Oh, yeah.
With a spigot in the bottom to open up to get your water. And I suspect the teacher saw that was filled, must have had to bring water to it because there was no water in the school.
Oh, the teacher brought it.
Well, I suppose. I don't know. I was too little to know about that. I didn't care, probably. There was water there. And every day. And then I have no idea how many desks. I just drew squares for desks. First grade was over here on this side. There must have been about 3 windows across here and 3 windows probably on this side too. And there might have been lots more desks than this. I don't have any recollection how many. But the first grade started on this side and it went over here to the 8th grade.
Okay.
And up front was her desk and I think probably the piano, but I'm not sure about that. And some kind of a wood-burning stove. And there were blackboards, I believe, across the front of here. And I think there were some maps to pull down. But that could have been in the public school too.
So your school had the doorway to the back of the classroom then?
Yes, you went in. Yeah. This was this was the front of the school, but you went in and the classroom was beyond it. Yeah.
And 2 doors, you said?
I think they were. Yes, this was a wall. I believe. I could be wrong on that. I know there was a door here, and it probably did have a door that actually closed to keep the heat in the school, instead of out here in the weather lock or whatever you want to call it. Okay.
Were there curtains on the window?
Don't remember. Have no idea. I think there might have been a pull-down shade, but again, I'm just trying to think what it looked like. It's hard to remember. And I was in one of these mini desks here, and there weren't that many. It was not a huge school at all, student-wise. It didn't seem to me. I don't remember. Now my sister was there too. Where she sat, I don't remember. But between the first grade aisle and the 8th grade aisle, that's all set of desks. That's all I remember.
Do you remember a chalkboard or?
Yeah, I think it was a blackboard.
A blackboard?
At the front here, yes.
Did you have lights at all? How was your school lit?
Have no recollection.
No incandescent or
I don't
candle?
remember if it was a kerosene lamps. I wouldn't think so, because Nashua, everything over here had electricity. We didn't have electricity because we were a county road. Who should put it in? Floyd County? Chickasaw County? Who should put it in? So it was not till 1946, I was 10 years old, that we got electricity.
Oh my. That's really interesting. Let's see here. Did you have a well in your schoolyard?
I don't remember.
Don't remember? I see you have an outhouse there.
Well, yes, little footprints going out here. Yes, there was one outside building, little building for the toilet, and the teacher had a system, and again I don't remember. It was a finger thing. One, and I don't remember, it was 1 or 2 fingers to go to the bathroom, and another maybe to get a drink of water. I don't know. We used 1 finger for one thing and 2 fingers for another thing. I have no idea. I don't remember which was which, I should say. But I know to go to the bathroom, you had to raise your hand and raise whatever finger meant go to the bathroom.
Okay, that works.
Yeah, it worked. So anyway, that's what it looked like.
What color was your school?
It was just white.
Just white?
Yeah, probably needed painting. I don't know if it needed painting or not. I just don't remember that much about it.
I see you had concrete here.
Is
concrete? Was there any dirt or grass?
I don't remember that. Maybe it was concrete there. I was too little to think between concrete and gravel. All the roads were gravel or dirt. Ours was a mud dirt road. We had to, from where our farm was here, we had to, in the spring, drive the car down to the neighbors here, which was just past the good road, the gravel road, crushed rock road. We had to drive the car down there when it started getting soft and the frost went out. Leave it there because it got so muddy we couldn't get down the road.
Oh my.
Another county road. Which one takes care of it? Nobody did.
I bet you brought in a lot of mud to school, maybe?
No.
No?
No.
No.
Oh no, we had to be clean and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Just right.
So, when you got to school in the morning, did you have playtime outside, or did you go right into school? What did a typical morning at school?
I don't remember that. I'm sorry I wasn't there longer to give you more information.
No.
But I know there was recess. I know we went out to play some because I hated it because there was a teeter-totter. I hate teeter-totters to this day because I was always the one left up in the air because I was not big enough and heavy enough to bring anybody else down.
Okay.
I didn't like it.
Teeter-totter. Any other equipment?
I don't remember. There might have been something else, but I think there were maybe two teeter-totters. I did not like them.
Did you play games at all?
I suspect we did, but again, being a very bashful child, I didn't care if I played in them. I didn't want to. But I think we did have something like, what was it called? Fox and the Hound? I don't know if that's right. A circle game of some sort. And then I think in the winter, we probably laid down, made angels and stuff. But I don't, or the Fox and the Geese, is that what it's called? Fox and Geese?
Fox and geese?
We had a circle, and you had a center one here, and kind of diamond shapes around, and you had to stay away from the fox. The geese did, I guess, whatever it was called. Now I could be completely wrong on the name of that too.
Oh no, I think I know what you're talking
that's
about.
What it was, yeah. But whatever.
What time did you arrive at school? What time did school start?
I suspect it started at 8:30, 9 o'clock.
8:30, 9 o'clock.
I have no idea.
Okay. So we talked a little bit about you walking to school. There wasn't any rivers or railroads or anything, it was just
Not that
straight
close,
shot?
But there was certainly a river in Nashua, the Cedar River.
Did you walk with friends to school, other nearby farms, or was it just you?
No, just my sister and I.
Just you and
if we walked, and I think my dad took us an awful lot of times probably because we weren't that far, from the school or from the public school for that matter.
Let's see here. So when you arrived at school, how did the day typically begin? What lessons did you start with?
I don't know exactly what one we started with, but we learned to read. I was not in kindergarten. I learned to read immediately. I learned to write numbers. I learned to add. All the things that the first year in public school would teach you. And by the way, then I was there just 1 year in the one-room school, went to Nashua to the public school, and they wanted to put me in first grade. And my mother came and said, no, she's not going into first grade. She's had all that stuff. And so that's why I'm a year younger than all the kids I graduated with. Because they all had kindergarten. I went right into first grade.
What was that like?
Scary. Everything will be scary as far as I'm concerned at that age.
Well, what do you remember most about the differences between country school and town school?
Well, probably just so many more children of my age in the schoolroom. And that's only recalling that now because I knew, of course, there were a lot more. And it was one big room, bigger than probably the country school, with all these kids in it. And so that probably was different. Other than that, I don't know. I still have no recollection of eating, but I must have sometime during the day.
Do you remember what it was like going from one room with many ages to another room with just fewer ages when you went from rural school to town school?
I probably didn't think about that at all. I just knew, okay, I'm in public school now, and if I'd have been in country school longer, I probably would have noticed a tremendous difference. Like I said, it was just the quantity of kids my age versus a first grader clear over to 8th grade in the country school.
Okay. Let's see.
And I had, in the country school, I believe I had two other kids my age. I had a little redheaded boy and a little girl that lived across the street in a very interesting old big house, and we were friends.
Mhm.
And with the little boy too, because you don't forget those names.
Mhm. So let's move on to your lessons a little bit. So you said you learned to read.
Mhm.
Was there any mathematics?
Yes,
or...
I had arithmetic and reading and writing, and did a lot of writing on, I think it was lined paper from a tablet, you know. And did the arithmetic on the same type of paper, just a tablet.
Mhm. Did you work with books at all? Did your school have books?
Oh, I'm sure they did. In fact, there perhaps was a reading time that the teacher read. I don't remember.
Oh, she read to you.
She might have.
Mhm.
I'm not saying she did because I don't remember.
Mhm.
But there were, for sure, but there were, yeah.
Mhm.
She was a very good teacher.
Were these books provided by the school, or?
I have no
You
idea
have no
again.
idea?
My mother was the treasurer for the Riverton Township at one time. But by that time, probably the school was gone. Because she probably was not treasurer when I was in school. So I have no recollection of what she might have had to do.
Did your teacher work with you one-on-one, or was she roaming the
She was kind of
classroom?
roaming the room, I think. I think she probably gave us something to do and then went to the next class and gave them something to do or whatever, and along with telling them and instructing them on a lot of things, you know. And the book that we had to learn to read out of, the only thing I can remember is the Dick and Jane, and I don't know if it was in first grade, but we didn't have that old McGuffey reader or whatever. It was not that long ago.
What's the McGuffey reader?
What's that?
What's the McGuffey reader?
Oh, I don't know. It's a real old. You've heard of it?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. It's probably one of the first ones that they printed for schools. Maybe, I don't know.
Aha, yes.
But by the time Dick and Jane came around, it was in color.
Was that the popular book among kids back then?
Just for school.
Just for school? Did you enjoy it?
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I thought it was fine.
Yeah. Did your teacher have a recitation badge or anything, or was it just
A
her?
recitation?
Yeah. Where she recited anything, or did she just have a desk?
I don't remember that she did.
Mm-hmm.
I was really pretty little to remember a lot of this stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let's see here.
Sixth graders, 5 and 6 year olds today are much more advanced.
Did you have any lessons that were your favorite, or
In school?
yeah, or
Oh, I
least
enjoyed it
favorite?
all.
Okay.
I was good at it and I knew it. If you're good at something and you know it, you enjoy it.
What do you remember? Any specific lessons or
Like reading, writing.
writing?
I don't remember specifically anything, but no, I liked it and it worked fine.
Did you have any tests or writing assignments?
Well, I suspect we did, but I don't remember.
Okay. What kind of school supplies did you have?
I probably had a pencil and an eraser, and that was it.
That was it?
I think we maybe had to bring a box of crayons, but I'm not sure about that either. And I suppose there was an inkwell at the desk, but we didn't, first grade didn't use ink. But I think there was a hole there for it.
When you say you brought crayons, did you bring those from home?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So you provided those crayons?
Yes.
Okay. Did you take them in like a bag or something from home?
Oh, they were probably
On
in my
your way to
lunch
work?
bucket along with
Lunch
the food.
bucket?
I don't know. And then they stayed in the desk. Once you were there, of course, they stayed in the desk.
Oh, the lunchbox. Oh, the crayons.
The crayons, the
Yes, yes.
pencil, whatever. One of these lift top ones, you know, that
Where did you put your lunch boxes?
I don't remember.
Don't remember?
They might have had us leave them out in that break, the break between the water cooler and the school. I don't remember.
Do you remember your teacher at all? I mean, we talked a little bit about her,
Oh,
but
yes,
do you
I
remember
went
what
to
she
her-
was like?
Oh, I
or-
went to her funeral a few years ago. I remember exactly, yes. Like the picture shows, a nice-looking, young, slim woman. Always stayed that way.
Okay. Let's see here. Do you remember how she organized the lessons at all, or?
No, but she certainly had complete control over that schoolroom. Having said that, I don't remember if there was just one boy or many boys, because sometimes they cause more trouble.
Did she have any like discipline
No,
techniques?
she just had complete control of it. Went from one side of the room to the other, and when she got to the 8th graders, apparently had, obviously had lessons, books for them much different than ours, of course. And I don't know. I remember her going to that side of the room and talking to the older kids, a little. Then she must have had assignments to give them to work on. Now they maybe had to take assignments home. Certainly first graders didn't. We didn't have assignments for years, even in public school.
No homework.
No homework.
No homework. So did she have any specific expectations as a teacher for her students? You talked a little bit about raising your hand if you needed to go to the bathroom or needed a drink of water. Anything else? Any rules or you remember?
Nothing that I remember.
No, that's what stands out most?
No, nothing.
Okay. So going into lunch, you said you don't remember much.
No.
But do you remember like a typical time you ate lunch?
No.
Like noon, 1 o'clock?
Didn't have a watch.
Yeah.
Had no recollection of eating. Like I say, obviously must have had a time to eat, but I don't remember getting my dinner pail and sitting back down at the desk and eating. I don't remember. I do once I got to public school and got a little older. I remember that, but.
What color was the lunch pail? Do you remember?
I don't know. It looks like it's silver, doesn't it?
Silver?
I haven't.
Silver? Yeah. It looks like you're holding a book too in this picture I just noticed.
Yeah, I think so.
Was that?
Let's see. Maybe that was the tablet.
The tablet?
I don't know.
Home.
I don't know. I'm just supposing.
Yeah.
And there's the cat. One of many.
So when you went to town school though, did your town school have a cafeteria at all, or
No.
No.
We had to always take our lunch.
Mm-hmm.
Finally did. I don't know what grade I was in when they. I don't know if it had a cafeteria, if they brought food to the school. But I never ate that. I always brought my lunch.
Okay.
So.
What about recess at country school? Do you remember recess at all?
Well, I suspect we went out to the yard and had games, like I said, whatever they were named. But I don't remember for how long. I don't remember if we had a morning one and an afternoon one.
Okay. Did you play like Annioli or anything? Or?
At home we did.
At home, okay.
My sister and I and cousins, we had a garage that worked just great. And it was anti-over.
Anti-over, yes.
Anti-over. Let's say it now. Yeah, that was fun. We did that a lot.
And you said in wintertime you would go out and play snow angels and things.
Yeah. In wintertime. I mean, even this snow this year, and I don't know what you've experienced, was nothing like snows we had from 36 to 50, 60, 1960. Snow. We used to have snow. Our driveway, we could barely get through it. We couldn't go to the other buildings, the corn crib. It was full of snow. The driveway was roof to roof, full of snow. And people complain nowadays.
But it didn't stop you from getting to school?
No. No. Well, actually, when I say it was roof to roof, that I remember, it was probably always that way. But we were in public school by that time. And as soon as it started to blizzard and get snowy, my dad came in and got us and took us home, because he knew if he didn't, we were staying someplace in town for who knows how many days. He brought us home so that we were at home. And then came the blizzard, and we couldn't get out anyway. But he could not have gotten us home. That's how bad our roads got.
So you left school early then those days?
We had to on really bad days of public school, but not the country school. I don't remember ever not going to public school.
Okay.
Or one-room school, I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing.
Okay. What did you wear during the winter to country school? Did you have a coat?
Snow pants, is that what they call them? One piece that came up here, and a coat. I don't remember.
And you would hang them up inside?
Probably.
You had,
Yes,
probably.
Yes, I'm sure, yeah.
Did you have nap time at all?
No.
No.
Not that I recall. I do not, no.
No
I
nap
don't
time.
think so.
We have to ask because we do have some evidence of nap
Oh,
time.
yes.
And
Yes.
But-
We did not. And I didn't in public school that I know of either.
Okay.
But that's what kindergarten kids usually would had nap time, right? So I missed that, thank heaven.
What did your end of day look like at school?
What
Like
did-
the end of the day. Did you reach a certain lesson or?
No, I don't think so. By the way, I think we always said the Pledge of Allegiance at the beginning of the day.
The Pledge of Allegiance?
Yeah, and the flag was always in the schoolroom. I don't know if it is anymore. If it's not, it should be.
Was there a flag outside the school or just inside the school?
I don't remember that.
Okay.
There might have been, there might have had one of the older kids raise it. It very well could be, but I don't remember.
And you said that every day?
Oh, the pledge?
Yes.
Yes, I'm sure.
Okay.
Yeah, do any kids remember it anymore? I mean, have they said it enough they remember it?
Do you remember what time school would end? 3 o'clock?
No,
2
but
o'clock?
probably it was 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock? Okay. How did you get home? Same way?
Same way, and like I said, I don't remember my dad coming after us. So maybe we took off and hiked home. I don't remember.
With your sister?
Yeah.
Did you ever drive home or did you just walk every day?
Well, unless my dad came to get us, we walked.
Okay. No homework. Let's see here. No 8th grade exams. No consolidation.
Yeah, because see, I was there 1 year, and then the school closed, because it was so close to Nashua.
But after it closed, how did you feel about leaving rural school?
Didn't feel bad at all.
Didn't feel bad?
Never thought about it.
Never thought about it?
No. Because I was so scared being in public school. I don't know.
Do you remember your interactions with public school students at all?
Well, of course, I got to know more kids. I had one girl that we were pretty good friends. She was an only child, though. That was a problem.
Why was it a problem?
Well, are either of you only children?
Oh, she needed a best friend. She needed...
No. An only child is usually, it's all for them. Everything's for them.
Uh-huh. Oh, I gotcha.
She was very nice, though. I still see her from time to time. But you know, if you live with a sibling or many siblings, you got to share. You got to do things. But if you're an only child, everything kind of belongs to you.
Your classmates, do you remember how many classmates
Oh, I have
were?
no idea.
No idea?
No.
Okay. Let's see here. What was a typical school year-round schedule like? Did you have a summer break after, like in rural school, did you have summer break?
Yes, regular summer, yeah.
that-
School was basically September to May.
September?
End of May.
End of May?
Probably.
What did you do during your summer break?
Well, I had a little metal wagon, not very big, about so long. And that was my car. And I drove it up and down, sitting in the wagon with the legs being the whatever, propelling me up and down our sidewalk, which was not very long. I think you can see some of it in that picture.
Oh,
Behind the gate.
Yeah.
A sidewalk goes up to the back of the house. So that's pretty much what I did all summer. Play with cats, play with the dog, play with the baby, not the calves, they were they were out in the field by then. This has nothing to do with school, but visualize a metal hoop about 1 inch wide maybe, a hoop. You know, it's just a circle. And then you get a lath, which is a piece of wood, a wood lath, and you get the hoop to rolling, and with the lath, and you make sure that you're good enough to roll it clear down to the end of the road to get the mail without it tipping over.
Oh.
And then you got the mail and you rolled it back.
You did that often?
Oh, often, very
Yeah.
often.
You seem like you enjoyed that.
Oh yes, you
Yeah.
didn't want the tube to turn over or to flop over on its side. You had to get really good at it. That and picking potato bugs off the potato plants.
Oh, okay.
We had a big garden, had a couple of big gardens, but one was all potatoes. And my grandpa said, I'll give you a penny apiece for every potato bug that you take off the potato plants. And so he smoked a pipe, I guess, and he had these little tin, Prince Albert, was it? Prince Albert, a tin. And so he would give us each a tin, and we would go over and pick the potato bugs. This has nothing to do with school. I don't know why I'm telling you. But anyway, we would pick the potato bugs off the potatoes and drop them in the tin. And goodness, by the end of the day, we probably had, 50 potato bugs? I don't know. 15, 50, 20, whatever. And he'd give us a penny apiece for them.
Okay. Did you help out on the farm at all?
Later on, when it got bigger, if the bales of hay were laying there and it had poured rain, we'd go out and turn them all, push with our foot and turn them all over so the wet side was up and would dry. And, things like that.
But those duties, that didn't keep you from rural school at all, did?
That was in the summer.
That was in the summer?
So it didn't matter, yeah.
Did any other students have to leave school to help out with the farm? Do you remember?
I don't know. Well, anybody that was on the farm, of course, helped out with the farm. The boys that were raised on the farm, obviously, they did a lot of work, right? I only knew maybe a couple. The girls I knew were in town, so they had nothing to do about anything.
Were there any special events at your school that you remember that involved the larger community?
At the
Rural
country
school?
school? No, I don't remember anything.
No gatherings,
I don't remember.
elections,
I don't remember
church?
No. I have no recollection of that at all.
Any Christmas programs, holiday? Do you remember Christmas at
No.
school?
Not in the school, no.
No? Okay. Do you remember your last day at country school at all?
No.
No.
Don't care. Don't remember. I shouldn't say I don't care. I maybe was aware, but I have no recollection that I was, so I can't answer that.
Did your teacher have any expectations at the end of the day? Or did you have to put
No.
things away? Or
No, she just, goodbye, see you tomorrow. No, that wasn't what she said, but that was, I have no recollection of her ever saying anything. She probably did, but.
Okay, yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your time at country school and any world events. Do you remember any world events?
No, when Pearl Harbor occurred, I didn't know about it because I was only, 5 years old. By the time I got into public school, I knew about it.
But the 40s, World War II, did that have any direct effect on your rural school
Not
experience?
in my rural
or?
school, but by the time I got into public school, I would say World War II had quite an effect on a lot of us in one way or another.
Do you remember any specifics or?
Well, but nothing in the rural school. Did you want to know about anything later on?
Sure, yeah, let's talk a little bit about that. I mean, it's just talking about, these world events in your community, your school life.
Well, I started piano lessons when I went into public school. I think I was 7 years old when I started lessons, and I had to walk, I don't know how far, not all that far, but through several blocks of Nashua, which is not very big anyway, but to me it was quite a ways to get to my music lesson. And I remember starting out to go down to the lesson, and a couple older girls, and they weren't that much older than I, maybe a year or two. What did they say? Oh, remember Pearl Harbor, as they drifted apart, one go one way, and then one of them said, remember Pearl Harbor. And I thought, what does she mean? And then it dawned upon me what she meant. It was a saying of that time. And so that was kind of interesting. And then I didn't hear a lot about the war unless somebody from Nashua had been killed. And I remember that happening. My parents were not big talkers. And I wasn't until, 2 years ago. Because you grow up shy, you stay that way. And they were not big talkers at all, so they didn't talk about the war. We just didn't talk about it much, except for if there was a casualty or something. And I remember them saying once in a while a person's name. And I don't know that there was anything else. I remember when the war was over, and I remember it was a big thing, when that was the Japan part of the war, the European D-Day. I don't know, I probably knew about it, but VJ Day, when Japan, that was done, that was big.
So let's talk a little bit about your town school experience. Did your lessons change? How did they change?
My lessons change?
Yeah, did your lessons, classes, subjects?
No, I don't remember that anything was all that much different. Still the same things, writing, arithmetic, reading. And third grade, fourth grade. We moved to a different room each time. Fourth grade, I believe, was the year that I had a WAC, a Women's Air Corps. WACs, is that what they were called? WAC. She had been in that system, government, like the Army, but it was for women, and it was called the WACs, WAC, I'm sure that's what it was. And she had gotten out, and she was our teacher that year. Lessons were the same, I would say. I think it was in fourth grade, maybe it was fifth grade. The teacher used to have, or at times would have, you're sitting in these rows of desks, and she would have, instead of having to grade all the papers, she'd say, okay, now give your paper to the person behind you, and we'll go through the answers to arithmetic, for instance, and they'll check off what's wrong. And so we did that, and my paper came back with I don't know how many mistakes. I didn't make mistakes. It came back with 6 or 7 mistakes. And I looked at that, and the person behind me had changed my 7s to 9s, my 1s to 7s or whatever, making me have a whole bunch of mistakes. My mother came in and said, this is what happened. Because I was too bashful to say anything to the teacher about it. And I don't know if she believed her, but we showed her the paper and said, this person behind me changed these numbers. These were all correct. And we never passed papers behind us again.
Oh, okay.
So she must have realized that could happen. So that's a public school, of course.
Yeah, but I find it very interesting that your mother came in and said, no, she shouldn't start here.
And I'm glad she did, and I'm surprised, because she and my dad were both about as bashful as I was, but perhaps my dad more so. I don't know.
Okay. Do you remember what you did after you finished school? What did you do?
Rural school?
Or your education.
Oh, you mean
in general?
In the summers or during school?
Or what? Did you start a career?
Oh, well, I went to college. I for a while, so little that it hardly counts, but I enjoyed the piano, so I got a job in Waverly at an insurance company, and worked there until I stupidly got married. And so that's the end of my end of my report. Well, girls back then did. Way too early.
But you still got to play, I see.
Well, then, I had a family, and that took I taught them what I could. But then I started giving lessons to children, and I have given lessons since I was 19 years old, and I've enjoyed it.
Okay. But that's really special that your music education started from rural school, and it followed you through life, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember playing piano at all at rural school?
I didn't play then. I didn't take lessons when I was in rural school until I was in public school. I would think, like I say, I was 7 years old. Okay, this is ridiculous.
No.
But I played from then on and started lessons besides my girls when I started getting some students in the neighborhood, and it just built up to a large amount of students. And but that's not rural school.
What are some important takeaways that you want people to know about your rural school experience?
About my rural schools
Yeah,
experience?
any
I'm afraid I wasn't there long enough to give you a really good rundown on what it was like. But because I was little and young and long ago, it was just very scary. Well, I can't say that I was scared going to school. I was very shy. There's a difference. So that's probably why I don't remember a whole lot about it. Just what I've told you, which is not a lot.
Oh no, this
Not
is great.
where somebody, if they have gone 8 years.
Oh no,
And
this is great.
Yeah.
Do you have a particular best moment you remember of rural school, or worst moment, or in between?
Let's see, rural school, good moment, bad moment. I don't think so. I mean, what I remember, but I enjoyed. I liked this. I liked to learn all those things, and read, to write, to arithmetic, all that. I liked it. And I was darn sure going to be the best one in the class. Not that I was, but because if one has that attitude, you want to try to do your best, of course.
But you didn't have any particular memory?
No bad moments that I remember either, or no great moments. It was just school, and
But you enjoyed it overall?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed it. I never hated school at all.
All right. What lessons did you learn from your rural school experience? Any life lessons or skills that you brought with you to public school, or?
I don't think so.
No. Can you think of any compares or contrasts to your experiences in country school to, let's say, today's education system? Any major differences?
Oh, I think there's major difference, and I think we're going to lose our country if we don't wake up and teach these kids what civics and what a republic is all about. They think they live in a democracy because of a Democratic Party, I think. They associate that with democracy. We live in a republic, and yes, we have democratic, I guess you'd say, ideas, what you do and what you don't, but they're running us right down the track to socialism. And from that comes communism and whatever. If these kids don't wake up after going to all of these schools, these university schools that are so socialistic and you want everything given. What I hear is everything given to you. You can't do that. Who's going to pay for it? I mean, who do they think is going to pay for this? This stupid, I may be stepping on a lot of toes here, I don't know. But when these people get up, what's his name? Sanders? Bernie Sanders. And say, oh, we're going to give you an education. We're going to give you this. We're going to give you that. Give me a break. Where's he going to get the money from? Oh, from other people. And as Margaret Thatcher of the UK said so rightly several years ago, yeah, socialism is great until you run out of somebody else's money. And that's exactly what's going to happen. If we give everybody everything they want, you have to work for what you want. And that's what we did until Franklin Delano Roosevelt became president. And that started the giveaway.
But that's very different from rural school experience where you're...
I'm off on a tangent here, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. But in rural school days, that's very different, correct? Like education, public education today is very different from rural school experiences, correct?
In what way are you talking about?
Oh, in any way. Like just, do you remember like major differences between
At 6
public
years
school
old, you don't think about that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even think about it till you're 15 or 16 or 82 or whatever. You don't think about the differences, but there was...
But from you sitting in as a 6th grader in rural school, as a 6-year-old in rural school, I mean, education changed over the years, right?
Oh, of course it has. Of course it has. But we were taught something in school. And I know now there's so many more years that these kids have to learn about that we didn't, of course, have. I mean, I remember, I don't remember the Civil War, but I remember the dates. It was a long time ago, but in my lifetime, it was, when I was born in 36, 65, wasn't it, that it ended. It wasn't that, it was a long time ago, yes, but we were taught things like that. We were taught World War I, World War II. One of my daughters works over at the DOT. She has kids coming in for driver's license now that think that 9/11 is history, ancient history. 9/11, you remember 9/11? They don't know about it. They weren't born when it happened. I just don't remember a lot about it. If I'd have been there more years, that I could give you more information, but I mean, I can picture it. I can picture it. But I can't picture the piano. There must have been a piano there, but I don't picture that one.
Piano, a stove.
Yeah, the stove. Yeah. And I can picture the teacher standing up at the front of the room, and the desk and things like that.